right, hello everyone, and welcome to the Oil Stream. We are live from Westgate Boston Pizza, and you'll be back here tomorrow night, Tommy Gazzola.
Yeah. Yes, I will be. Is my mic up?
I think it's on. You want your headphones turned up?
Oh yeah,
yet?
maybe a little bit. There we go.
There
Very
There
nice.
you go.
Yep. Tara from BP. I just said hi to her, and we met Virginia from Boston Pizza, I believe Devon. And Tara's like, "Boy, this feels like a home game for you." And I'm like, "Yeah, it really does." Like, I saw Curtis really quickly. I know Tony will be here probably later. And then I text you. You text me this morning like, "Wait, you're not there till tomorrow." I'm like, "No, we're there."
I know. I had totally blanked that we were coming here today for lunch. But yeah, it was very exciting. Does Hernan say you can't hear us? No, we're good.
Oh, we're good.
Let's try it again.
I guess so.
Let's try it again.
Why not?
I don't think it was an us issue, but I'm not sure what the issue was.
We back.
Can you hear us?
Hello.
Bark twice if you're in Milwaukee. We are at Westgate Boston Pizza, where Tommy will be again tomorrow night. Hernan Salas is back at the EST studio. Seemed like it was a back there problem as opposed to a here problem. But
Hernan, you putting
incorrect, because we had Maddie and Trevin here, and there's nothing wrong on our end, and I don't know what happened. So we're blaming you guys. You guys are blaming us.
Way, no chance. This is not an us thing, because you said you reset the board and then you could hear us again.
Yeah. So
you already identified it was your end.
But the board had no issues. We just said, hey, let's try resetting the board, and then it reset.
And then that's when so just to clarify, you reset the board back there and it started working again.
Yes, because we kept putting into the.
Well, then it's not an us issue.
But it's not an us issue either. It's a board issue. That just
where is the board located? Boston Pizza or EST Studios?
You guys started well, and then you just went completely silent. And I was just sitting here admiring Tom's hair, and then I, called.
Your hair does look great, Tommy.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So, anyways, sure, you guys can blame us.
Whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely your problem, but that's okay. I mean, we're good. We're off and running. It's a game day. Edmonton Oilers and Dallas Stars tonight. All right, and if you're watching over on YouTube, hammer the thumbs up for us. We got that figured out. If you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart or at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, of course, you can fire us a text anytime, and we'll get to a few of those and work our way through the oil stream. Tommy, you were fresh off the rink today, looking looks like a nice jacket.
Thank you.
This is a real nice outfit, actually, overall in general. Yeah. Look at the Hello Hockey inside that thing.
Yeah,
a fancy boy.
Jared and Richie from Modern said that if
they can do anything,
they want you to come and get your CFL and TSN stuff from them.
I mean, I wouldn't mind doing that. I'm supposed to get it from Indochino, but TSN's not really good at saying, "Hey, here's your clothing allowance. Go get stuff."
That's annoying.
Or at least I don't push for it, because I'm just not a pushy guy. But I feel like I have to get a haircut before I go see them. You can't go in all sloppy.
Let
with
it
this.
ride. And
I'm a Kramer with the guy in the gas tank now. I'm probably not gonna cut to the morning I fly out to go do my first CFL game.
I could see that.
I don't see another reason. Yeah,
it is coming up quick.
CFL season's right around us. Yeah. You get to go cover all the superstars in the league, despite what Herb said.
I know there are superstars. We had this debate on the Hangout the other day, and it's like
it all comes down to your definition of superstar. That's what it comes down to.
In the league, there are superstars. There's stars, there's superstars, there's everyday guys, and and then it opened up this whole discussion, and Wannick brought it up about yes, the NFL is the creme de la creme, but the CFL has great players too. But the CFL, in my opinion, stands alone. It's unique enough that, it has its own identity and it has its own superstars. And no, they don't make millions of dollars, but and I understand where Ed was coming from in regard to that, and it's become a public spat with Gino. You know what it has done, though?
What?
Put the league in the spotlight.
In the spotlight again.
Mm-hmm.
Any publicity is good publicity, even when it's strange publicity.
Yeah, that's strange publicity. I think that's a nice way to describe it. But we're talking about it, and it's March, so we're talking about it. It's something, and I'm sure we're going to debate it more. But it's been interesting and fun that way. But yes, fresh from the rink. Yeah.
So what's going on down at the rink today?
So Leon did skate. Now he wasn't really on a line. He took a few reps through. He sent out a preemptive strike to the PR team and said, well, Jamie and Peardo were like, hey, you're going to be requested to speak
if you're skating.
Yeah.
And Leon said, no.
He goes, he's like, I'm not playing tonight, and I'm not speaking to the media today. And they're like, okay. And so that, we were talking in the stands, and be like, well, how do we handle it? He's out there. What about Evander? And in due time,
and Evander skated today as well.
He also skated.
He has not yet talked since he started skating again.
No, and
I wasn't sure if I missed that when I was on vacay.
And at some point he will. Obviously, we did get an update from Chris Knobloch on Kane. He said he's tracking well to be ready for some point in the playoffs, and that's good. That's encouraging that he's skating with the team. No Trent Frederick with the team. Knobloch did address that. He said that he continues to skate beforehand with the athletic therapy, like the rehabilitation process. With the Chris Davey, Happy is his name, and he works with guys on the ice to make sure that everything's okay. But he has not skated with the team. And
so, do you think it's this not till playoffs then?
No, well, Knobloch did say take it with a grain of salt, because we've heard Knobloch say that Victor Arvidsson would be a few days and he missed 15 games. So I'll hold that one
true point
against him. But he did say probably in a week he'll skate with the team, and then they'll hopefully get him into some games. So that'll take us into April. And I had a keep it or clip it. Like Trent Frederick will play games at the start of April. I think, if you clipped it, you're probably going to be right, because Knobloch said another interesting thing too.
The start of April's next week, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He said that they looked at different scenarios, and the timeline and the way it's tracking right now is probably worst case scenario, like how long it's taken to get him up and running. And actually, we were talking about that a bit yesterday on Two Guys. That frustrated people, and I get that, because you're going out and getting damaged goods.
Okay,
right?
What frustrated people?
That it's taken so long. It's supposed to be 10 days to 2 weeks, and then
I mean, if you don't sign him, you gave up a second rounder for a couple of rounds of the playoffs, hopefully more. But just saying.
And one of my first questions to people from the team was like, is this a guy that's going to be around for more than just a run to the postseason? And there was not something. It was not a very concrete answer like, no, we're going to sign him. But they would like to keep him. It's just he's a free agent. And, I think part of why he became available in Boston was, yes, down season, and they're retooling. For crying out loud, we saw them trade Brad Marchand, right? And he might have a bigger ask, but he's not having a season that would, constitute a high ask. Although he is in his later 20s now, he's getting there, and he probably wants a nice deal. He has had a couple of good seasons recently.
Yeah,
but so it's a kind of a question mark.
It's going to be. I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, people sign free agents when they haven't played. So if you can get a glimpse of him in the playoffs and see what he's capable of,
I would like to see.
You just don't want to. Like, it would just suck if. Like, I mean, there's a couple of scenarios here that would kind of suck. One, he looks great in the playoffs, and they give him this big deal, and they're like, "Oh man, this guy could probably be maybe even a top six winger if they need to, with the lack of maybe some other guys who aren't around." And then it's just like, he's not what we saw in the playoffs. Or there's the other situation where you sit here and you give up the second to get him, and you get him for a series or 2 or 3 or something, and then he goes and signs somewhere else, and he looks great, and you're like, man, if they could have got more of a read on him after the deadline. But I mean, they knew what they were trading for when they traded for him, right? So they've put themselves in this situation. Maybe it ends up working still terrifically for them. But right now I can see why people would be frustrated then.
I would be frustrated too from a fan's point of view. So I'm totally on the level with fans that are like, what the hell is the problem? Why did we trade for an injured guy? I get that. I get that rationale 110%. And then I would back it up with, well, look at Alec Regula. Like, they went and got a guy that was injured. Look at Roby Yarventi.
Yeah,
they went and got a guy.
Well, and when they got Yarventi, they were telling us from Ottawa, they're like, this guy hasn't skated in months. They're not sure when he's going to skate again. Like,
and he's like, I was talking to Holtby down in Baco last week, and he's like, yeah, Roby's still here, and I think he said that he had to get something touched up again with his knee, and it's taking forever, and especially when you shred a knee and you got to get a completely redone. That's tough. And then, I suggested, I'm like, is Yarventi even coming back? And I mean, Holtby didn't want to get into it, but I assumed he shrugged his shoulders and like, I don't know what I can tell you, Tom. I don't have an idea. So it's weird that this regime has a penchant for going out and getting hurt guys and being like, oh, we'll wait for them. Oh, maybe they'll never play. No, why do we do that? It's bizarre. In my opinion.
So tell me what I missed while I was gone from an Oilers. Like, how did they play while I was gone?
They played good. They put up a good fight. I think gutsy is a good way to describe the game against Winnipeg that they lost in overtime. Stu Skinner had to get pulled late in the game, 5 minutes left, because he got bumped into. I think he was trying to sell trying to get a call. He was trying to sell it. And they had to put in Pickard. Pickard goes in. He does okay. They play Shifley, Morrissey, and Connor very passively as they were coming back into the Oilers zone, and Scheifele and Connor Cross and Arvidsson kind of backed off. They gave them too much space, and Connor 37 goals at that point. He sniped one past Cal Pickard. So it was and they were down Draisaitl. They didn't have McDavid, or they were down, and then they lost McDavid in the third period. So that was gutsy. They come back and they win against Seattle. Guys stepped up. Nugent Hopkins is on fire.
I know he's on fire. Yeah, that's crazy.
He's moving his feet, Dusty, and
is that what's been working for him? Like,
yeah, he's narrowed his eyes. So
a classic Dallas Eakins line.
Henrique scored a nice goal the other night. Now, they did almost let it slip in the final few minutes, and people were singing Bon Jovi. They were doing the wave, and they got scored on.
There.
Oh yeah, and then boom, back of the net. And it wasn't all Stu Skinner's fault. Although I even said it on the postgame show, I would have liked to see maybe one more save from Stu, but they didn't defend particularly well. Like those little things that have kind of bitten them in the posterior came up in a small portion of that third period. But they got the win, and it was all hands on deck. And it sounds like it's going to have to be the same way tonight. Jake Wallman's kind of had some moments where you're like, okay, why did he do that? But then
really,
he's been blocking a lot of shots. His defensive game has been decent. But yeah, there's been a few turnovers. You're like, that wasn't particularly good. Bouchard, I feel like, has had a couple of good moments, but we'll see how that goes.
All right, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. You can text us anytime, and we'll get to a few more of your text messages as we work our way through the show today. Tommy will be here at the Westgate Boston Pizza as well for tomorrow night's game. As the Edmonton Oilers quick turnaround here, back-to-back Dallas tonight at home. We'll get to the lines that we should expect to see tonight as well. You can text us anytime, 780-218-9999, and we'll get into those as well. Portions of the show obviously brought to you by our great partners over at Popeyes as well. If you're looking to hit a drive-through today at lunch, go take advantage of their $4 value menu available at all Popeyes locations. Mini chicken wrap, mini chicken sandwich, among other things you can get. And of course, the classic chicken sandwich is something that you would probably always want to hop on as well. And we'll get to some of your text messages as we work our way through the how well has Skinner played since I've been gone?
Good. I would say good, but
I'm not talking Stu Skinner, I'm talking Jeff Skinner.
Jeff Skinner.
I'm talking Jeff Skinner.
Yeah, well, I mean, every time you go on the AI generated overview of the post-game chat, it's always fans of the team are complaining about Stuart Skinner. And one night Pickard started, and it was still complaints about Skinner.
Still complaints about poor Skinner.
Yeah, Zach to come. Actually, he's like, I popped on and I read this. He's like, Tommy, this is hilarious. So I had to read it on the show. But Jeff Skinner's been better, and you can see the confidence, and they're giving him some looks in the top six. The power play, even though connected a couple of times without the two big dogs, it has been a bit of a scramble, and has had some looks where it was just like discombobulated, but then they found ways to score. And I think Jeff Skinner is embracing having some responsibility and trust, and it's crazy, Dusty. It's crazy. I said this to Reed and Belsey the other night in the press box. I was like, hey, look at that. They're playing guys in roles that they're good at, and these guys are kind of taking advantage and making it work. And that included Jeff Skinner, included Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Victor Arvidsson has had a couple of good games where he put up some points and scored some goals. And like at Connor Brown, you'd like to see him get in there as well. But it's encouraging what they're getting from their secondary scorers or their role players, let's call them.
All right, let's take a look at these lines that we saw. Is this what we're looking at here? Okay, yeah. All right. Tommy, fresh from the rink. I've been here at Boston Pizza since 11 o'clock. Dash from the park is here. I think he's having a little meeting or he's meeting with a buddy over
Dash
there.
Is here.
He's going Boston Brute today.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. The Boston Brute's pretty good, considering maybe a Meteor Pizza. I haven't had a Brute in a while. I might go with a Brute here for lunch after. Half Brute.
I might do pasta.
I'm not going full Brute. I might go half Brute. Half Brute and fries. Maybe Cactus Cuts. We'll see.
Oh, Cactus Cuts. I love Cactus.
How good are Cactus Cuts, eh? They're spicy, though. I mean, they are. I'm a spicy boy today. If I can.
spicy boy.
Yeah.
Philly dipper, really good too. If you like Philly cheesesteak, they have like the au jus, and the au jus has like onion rings in it, or like it falls in from the sandwich. It falls in
from the sandwich.
It's pretty good.
God, who doesn't love au jus? Hey? We went to a place in Vegas, or not Vegas, Disneyland, called Goofy's Kitchen, where you go and it's this huge buffet, one of the best buffets I've ever seen in my life. And then and it's not freaking cheap. My sister booked it, but and then like the Disney characters come around to your tables and stuff.
Oh,
so the kids are loving it, but the food, I had mashed, like there were so many things, but I loved what I got so much. I just went back. I got the exact same plate again. I got mashed potatoes with like turkey and sirloin, like, oh, buddy. And I just went, and then they had these ribs. So I had ribs. Like roasted turkey, like fresh. And then, it was so good.
Was the turkey the crunchy skin?
That might've been the highlight of the trip. No, it was just like the smoothest turkey. Oh, it was
the ribs.
Guys, I can't even tell you.
And the mashed potatoes, were they like creamy and whipped?
No, they weren't as creamy and whipped as you would think for delicious mashed potatoes. Because I do prefer my mashed potatoes that way, but these were delicious mashed potatoes. It was an expensive meal, and I usually would never want to pay that much for food, but it was worth it. Like it was like it tasted like it was good.
Buffet. Really nice. Like I'm always leery of a buffet. I went to Golden Corral when I was in Oklahoma City.
Yeah,
worst experience ever.
Really?
Awful.
Yeah.
Oh,
this is not a cheap little Vegas buffet, right?
Okay.
It was. The kids were just in heaven. Like
good.
Marshall was just. He brought back his first plate. He goes, "Daddy, I'm also gonna have some mac and cheese." I said, "Of course you're gonna have mac and cheese."
I love mac and cheese.
And I said, "Just eat your first plate and go back." And he goes, "No, I want a second plate." When the second plate just says mac and cheese. So he comes back with a plate of mac and cheese and mashed potatoes. That was it on the plate. And I was like, that's my son.
That's a double.
That's my son right there. I'm
proud of him.
It was good. Now. Todd Gack says, Dusty, what are ideal ages? We took our kids to Disneyland when they were 6 and 8. And then we wanted to get back again when they were still kind of little kids. So we went back at 8 and 10. I would say 8 and 10 might be the wheelhouse. Maybe like 11 and 9, 12 and 10. But I think 8 and 10 was really good.
Can I follow up to Todd Gack? I mean, you took them as parents, obviously.
Yeah.
A couple times. My one and only time at Disneyland, and we spent a week there, I believe. I was 15. We took a long road trip. We did Vegas. We did San Diego. We did LA
the whole thing.
We did the whole West Coast all the way back up, and it was awesome. And my dad's like, well, I'm taking you guys to Disneyland. My mom was very excited about it. My brother, I was 15. My one brother was 11 or 12, and then Paulie was 8 or 9.
That's a nice one.
And I wasn't sure if I was gonna like it. And I'll be honest with you, I loved it. I thought Disneyland was cool. Now, I wasn't like, oh, Goofy, Mickey and Minnie, but the Indiana Jones was awesome. That ride I loved. I loved Space Mountain. They had those ones where it's like, you know how they have like Star Wars and stuff like that? That's all in the Disney family. That was just starting to happen. And so you'd have those tie-ins where I was like, this is cool. I loved it. And California Adventure was almost open.
Okay.
And you could see
California Adventure is pretty sick too.
And that's what I keep hearing, but it wasn't yet. But I absolutely loved Disneyland as a 15-year-old.
My parents took me when I was 15. That's the first time I went was when I was 15.
Yeah.
And then they took us again when I was 26. And that was like our last sort of family trip without like significant others and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just the 5 of us. And I loved it when I was 26. And then I went when I was 41 and went when I was 43. And I loved it when I was then too. So, I mean, it doesn't matter.
I would happily go back. Seriously.
Yeah.
I thought it was neat.
It's such a good time.
Yeah. It is very, very well done there. The Jurassic Park ride at Universal Studios.
Yeah, we didn't get to Universal yet.
That was cool.
Then we got to go back for a Universal trip, I think, at some point for a couple days at least.
At SeaWorld, we saw Shamu as well.
Yeah, SeaWorld was good. We went SeaWorld last year. We did SeaWorld last year. It was a lot of fun.
But I got freaked out around like deep water.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, my God, this is crazy.
You imagine. So, Tommy, there's whales. Those whales come from the ocean.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, deep water.
It's tripping.
All right, so here's what the Oilers are running tonight against the Dallas Stars. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins with Arvidsson and Podkolzin. Henrique between Hyman and Kapanen. Matthias Janmark with Connor Brown and Jeff Skinner. Derek Ryan, Max Jones, and Corey Perry. Ekholm Bush, Nurse and Wallman, and Kulak and Troy Stetcher. What do you expect from this lineup? What do you expect against a really good team in Dallas? What do you think?
I look at it as an underdog lineup for sure. I think a lot of people probably do.
This does reek a little bit of like Nuge 3 years in type of lineup, doesn't it? Like,
very much so.
Yeah,
very much so. Someone posted a lineup that the last time McDavid and Draisaitl
somebody did do that. Yeah,
actually, Larry Ring sent it to me the other day, and I read it out on the air, and it was not good.
No,
right
not
here,
good.
I have it. So this was March 22nd. It was reposted March 22nd, 2025. This was from It's Was.
Yeah.
It said the Oilers lineup the last time McDavid and Draisaitl weren't available for selection. Lander between Hall and Eberle.
Okay, but where's Nuge there?
He might have been hurt.
Nuge must have been hurt, which is a little misleading. So you'd have to throw Nuge in there.
Yak is on it. Yeah, Derek Roy.
Yeah.
Between Pouliot and Yakupov. Hendricks with Purcell and Klinkhammer. Tyler Pitlick with Luke Gaz.
Shout out Gaz.
And
Colin Fraser.
No, not Colin Fraser.
Matt Fraser?
This was Matt Fraser
that
they got from Boston. Really nice guy. Clefbaum with Schultz. Marincin with Musil. Keith Ollie with Brandon Davidson. Ben Scriven starts in goal.
Both Marincin and Musil since then I have called it the Spengler Cup. So that's how that. But then Nuge would have been in that lineup. I mean, that was a Nuge.
He would have been banged up too.
He would have been hurt at the time. But not a great. I mean, the lineup tonight looks better. That's for sure. But how much stock do you put in to tonight's game if they lose to a really good Dallas Stars team?
If they lose to a good Stars team, you can legitimately say, but they didn't have the two best players on the team, two of the best players in the world. And I think that has some validation. Now, if they play a gutsy game like they did against Winnipeg last week and they eke out a point or surprise everybody and get a win, that's a pleasant bonus and surprise. But if they keep it, I think tonight, if they keep it tight, give themselves a chance, get some good goaltending, I think you can be encouraged. Because I already saw people texting in the last couple of days saying, well, if you expect an Oilers loss on Wednesday, they can go into Seattle and they could beat Seattle again and get those 2 points. They're going to be sitting okay. And maybe, Leon could be back by that Saturday game against the Flames, and then they should be fine. That's kind of some of the mentality we've seen from a few fans that have chimed in about it. But I think tonight, if you get a good, gutsy effort, everybody pulling on the rope, and you keep it tight, give yourself a chance. But, I think the Dallas Stars are the favorites.
Well, I mean, Timothy Motway over in the chat does say the Stars are missing their best guy, too, in Miro Heiskanen. I mean, they're missing a pretty significant piece
Sagan
as well. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of pieces missing there. Heiskanen being the biggest of that group. I think tomorrow on the show, if they lose on the Nielsen show tomorrow morning, people will be pretty understanding, unless they come out and just lay a dud
and get blown.
Like if they come out and it's just like these guys weren't they looked like they were just expecting to take the L because they didn't have McDavid and Draisaitl, then there'll be some reason for criticism. Because as much as it would be understandable that they would lose this hockey game tonight, it's an important game. Are the Kings not 9-1 in their last 10?
Man, they're on fire.
They're absolutely crushing it right now.
Yeah, and then they took care of New York last night. I was watching that game a bit, and I was like, yeah, of course they home ice, Rangers.
Still only 3 regulation losses at home for the Los Angeles Kings.
Yeah, 9-1-0, 4-0, 9-1-0 last 10, 4 straight wins formally, and then 26-3-4 on home ice is insane.
Goal differential essentially the same as the Oil. Mm-hmm. They score a little bit less, but they allow fewer. Mm-hmm. But that home record has to be concerning if you're an Oilers fan and LA gets home ice in the first round. I mean, 3 regulation losses at home, and they played 33 games at home. Is it 33?
Yep.
Yeah, 33 games at home, and they've lost 3 in regulation.
Yeah, that's insane. There were some people conceding Edmonton not having a chance to catch Vegas. I get that. You got to make up 7 points with 1 game in hand. But here's where I don't give up on the hope. Like, just go out and win every game you can. I know it's not going to happen and it's very improbable, but win those 2 LA games. Go in and be one of the teams that actually beats them.
Hand them LA. That home loss.
And then take that game from Vegas, and then who knows? Like, I never say never. I know that the odds are not particularly great, but
yeah, 7 points is a lot to make up with just the 12 games left.
I know. Just throw that idea and concept out the window. Worry about your own game. Worry about tonight against Dallas. Try to put up a good effort, good performance. Maybe you get a good result and you can reel in the Golden Knights. That's too bad because this should have been a year where the Oilers did win the division for the first time in, 38 years, 37 years. What was it? 1987 was the last time they won the division. Maybe the first.
Yeah, no, 87.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think. That's almost 40 years. That's 2 years away from being 40 years without a division win.
I didn't tell you this, too. I went down this crazy rabbit hole. I found somebody's been posting old intros and
I heard Reed mention this to JMO yesterday.
Because I sent it to Reed, and I ended up, there's 2-3 hour videos of 1987 Stanley Cup playoffs, Hockey Night in Canada, CFRN clips, ITV clips, Tim Spalacy, Perry Salkowski, Darren Detition, Al McCann, classic Ron McLean. And I watched and it's been that long. They had the powder blue jackets on Hockey Night in Canada the last time the Oilers won the division. That's insane.
Yeah, that is kind of nuts when you think about it that. And they've had they've had some good teams. They've had some great teams lately and haven't been able to get it done. Mm-hmm. They had some good teams at the end of the 80s, obviously, that weren't able to get that thing taken care of.
Yep. Early 90s.
It doesn't look like they're going to get it this year. It's going to be a second. They're going to play the Kings in the first round. I guess just what's going to to happen.
Here's where I not disagree, but here's where I don't feel the same as a lot of people that and Owanek and Reed and Hernandez
worried about beating a team 4 times.
Yeah. Who cares? Go beat them. You know how to beat them. They're better, yes, but I think that there might be, I don't know if inferiority complex is the right way to describe it, but if you're the LA Kings, oh, not these guys again. You'll put up a big fight. You'll feel better about your game, but there's something about facing the Kings again where I'm like, if I was the Oilers, I'd be like, okay, take care of business, beat them. You've done it before, flex on them. And I feel like when the Oilers and Kings meet again in the playoffs, that is likely to happen. That's how I feel about it.
All right, 780-218-9999. We're going to get to the Chychrun contract here in just a second. Norman at Combine says he can't afford to take the 3 house hippos to Disney now. He refers to the boys.
He's got some big boys. He's got the big boys.
You guys are funny. The Combine family is funny. A lot of people saying they're planning on coming out here tomorrow night.
Come on down.
Big Uke. I didn't see you until I saw you in the on the show here. I was like, hey, is that Big Uke sitting back there?
All right.
Anyway, but I guess we're gonna get some snow tomorrow. Next couple of days, a bunch of CMs of the white stuff.
No thanks.
That's not ideal.
We're not here to shred the gnar.
All right, let's get to some of your text messages for sure. So let's dive into that. If you're over watching on YouTube, hammer the thumbs up for us and hit us up in the nasty chat as well. Coach Mike says, guys, does Nuge stay on his own line when 29 and 97 return?
Okay, good question, Coach Mike. And it sounds like Chris Knobloch is leaning that way, and they've kind of rolled with him at center lately, and he's been moving his feet. He's been getting offensive results, and I think generally his defensive game has been okay. So I would assume, having listened to Knobloch talk about Nugent Hopkins in his game and where he's put him in the lineup, I know out of necessity he's playing center right now, but I think that they've kind of tried this idea out more and more to the point where maybe that's how they roll into the playoffs. So I would say, I think we'll see him at center. And he drove his line the last couple of games, which is something we've been saying is lacked in his game. And
so we're imagining, because there's 2 different ways this could go. Nuge gets his own line, and you play McDavid and Draisaitl together, or Nuge gets his own line, and McDavid and Draisaitl will also have their own lines. In a perfect world, if we're just building this for the success of a Nuge line, which wingers does he get with him when McDavid and Draisaitl are back?
Maybe the guys he's with tonight, Podkolzin and Arvidsson.
I mean, you're not taking those guys away from anything special.
No.
Usually, I mean, with that being said, they have been Leon's wingers for a good chunk of the season.
But to minimal effect. Now here's another weird thing we didn't really hit on. It's
I'm not too sure what that is. The whole Kapanen thing confuses me.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend too much time on Kapanen playing with Henrique and Hyman tonight. Doesn't make sense. I wouldn't do it.
But Skinner could be elevated.
Why would Skinner not be with Henrique and Hyman? Has this Janmark Brown Skinner thing been a thing recently, or
I don't know. It doesn't strike me as something that like this is kind of feels like this is a bit of an experiment with Henry, Kapanen, and Hyman.
No, but here's when hopefully, first of all, when McDavid and Draisaitl are back, I don't think Kapanen should be in the lineup. But if you have Kane and Frederick back in the playoffs, Kapanen's nowhere near your lineup.
No.
So to me, there's no reason to experiment with this.
Kapanen is like -11 with 10 points in 49 games, 59 games with the Oilers this year. It's not great. He even said it today. We interviewed him today, and he's like, I'm not too happy with my game overall this year. I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't be either. Like, you're on for a lot of goals against. Now, he does do some good things. Like, he can transport the puck. He is thick. Like, he's built. He kills. Him and Podkolzin have become a good pairing on the PK. You've seen more and more of that lately. I have noticed that. And actually, it's been decent. So, like, I don't even know if Max Jones is going to be in the lineup come playoff.
No, if Frederick and Kane are healthy, Kapanen and Jones probably aren't in the lineup because you got So let's just play this game. McDavid, Draisaitl, Kane, and Frederick are good to go in the playoffs.
Yeah.
The four guys who come out are Kapanen, Jones, Derek Ryan, and who?
Ooh, good one. Jeez.
I think the coach would say Skinner.
Yeah.
But who do we say? Podkolzin or Perry? Or Skinner?
Brown's okay. I'd lean towards Skinner just because of what we've seen this year, which is too bad.
I'd probably lean. Well,
it depends who you're playing. Say it's LA.
I mean, I don't know. I think you need wingers who can score in the lineup.
And
Podkolzin can't score.
Correct.
Kapanen can't score.
Yeah.
Arvidsson's come around a little bit.
Connor Brown doesn't.
Matthias Janmark can't score. Connor Brown, like Jeff Skinner, I think you need to have Skinner scoring somewhere in the top 9. So, yeah, that's interesting.
Maybe they try Skinner, give him his first taste of playoff action, and depending on how he matches up against LA. I know LA's a lot of big bodies on that team too, but they play a skill game. Maybe they try Skinner, but if that doesn't work, you get Podkolzin back in there. But you're right, like Podkolzin's offensive ability is minimal, as we know, but he digs pucks in Leon.
He does dig pucks.
Yeah.
He definitely digs pucks. KD says the Oilers win 4-3 tonight. If you think the Oilers are going to win tonight, go hop on our EST parlay because it's over 6-1. It's a Nuge point, a Bouchard point, a Skinner point, and the Oilers to win. So, I mean, if the Oilers are going to win tonight, you're probably going to need points from all three of those guys. One of those guys we just mentioned was Evan Bouchard. I know there's a lot of reaction yesterday afternoon on the station, but not here yet on the oil stream specifically, about the Chychrun deal at 8 years, $9 million per.
Yeah.
I said this morning, like, that is an absolute lock floor for Bouchard. If you think Bouchard's coming in less than Chychrun, you're nuts.
Not happening.
It's just a matter of how much more he gets than Chychrun. How much more do you think he gets? Noodles this morning said it's going to be double digits. I mean,
I was going to say minimum 10 million. And that Chychrun deal yesterday kind of cements it. And like all the people like, he doesn't deserve more than 6. I wouldn't give him more than bridge him again, this and that. I understand where you're coming from with that. And like you look at his defensive lapses that lead directly to goals, whether he gives it away, falls down, doesn't pick up a check, soft sweeping of the stick, and there's a direct result in a goal against. It is frustrating. We've talked about that so much. But then he's like plus 16 this year. That's second most among the top 10 scorers among defensemen this season. He's 4th in defenseman scoring. And you're just like,
yeah, I mean,
and if you wanted to go to arbitration, guess what a neutral objective arbitrator would say? Boy, those numbers are really good. I think he does deserve 10 plus. So it's where the market stands. This is kind of similar to when Darnell got his deal for 9.25 and
the market was kind of defensive crazy there.
Exactly. Hughes. And so like the ask might still be around 11 and he's probably going to get 10 to 10 and a half.
Like I get very frustrated with Bouchard. I love his offense, obviously, but I think we need to start getting to you need to start realizing that Bouchard for $10 million is going to be a reality and would be like, you're going to like, let's just accept that it's going to happen at 10.
Yeah.
And you've got to brace yourself for that.
Yeah.
Because if it happens at 11, you're going to be furious. But if it comes in at 10, as Tommy just laid out with the market and the numbers, 10 is probably, it drives me crazy to even say this, but because of like Noodles laid it out perfectly this morning. He said everything he does is a 10. Like his plays that he makes with the puck are a 10 out of 10. And the turnovers that he'll make at times aren't 2 out of 10s, they're 10 out of 10s.
Great descriptor.
So but like, I guess I'll just say it, $10 million is going to be probably a good deal for Evan Bouchard when you look at what's going to happen to the cap. And we're going to be talking 3 years from now, defensemen who don't put up as many points as Evan Bouchard are going to be getting 11 and 12 million.
Yes.
And if you get Bouchard locked into 10, as frustrating as he is, I mean, he's an excellent, elite offensive defenseman that is so good offensively, it covers up some of the blemishes that he has elsewhere in the game. So, I mean, I don't like it, but you're going to have to live with 10 mil. And if they get him for just 10 mil, you might be happy 3-4 years from now, I guess is where I'm trying to spit this thing out. Because there'll be defensemen like Chychrun who are getting 10, 11 in the next 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
And those guys don't have the offensive upside that this guy does.
That's correct.
And you have to pay him, because if you don't pay him, the minute he leaves, you're like, oh, God, you got to get a right shot D-man who can provide offense. Like it's a weird spot that they're in, but it's like kind of a goodish problem to have.
Yes. And fully recognizing, again, his blemishes and lapses defensively, but there's such a premium on right shot defensemen in the National Hockey League right now. You just watched the Edmonton Oilers go out and get Alec Regula off of waivers, who's injured, hasn't played a single game, minors or with the big club. They went out and took a flyer on John Klingberg. That hasn't worked out either. They went and got Ty Emerson for Cody Ceci. Don't get me wrong, I would have much preferred having Cody Ceci. But now you have Jake Wallman, who's a lefty, playing the right side. You've had Brett Kulak, who's a lefty, play the right side. And then, by the way, you've been rolling with Troy Stetcher. The last few games. That's how much of a desire for reputable right shot defensemen there is around the National Hockey League.
Smitty the Welder says, hopefully someone offer sheets him at 10 mil. See ya. Yeah, but here's the thing. Somebody offer sheets him at 10 mil and you get all these picks and everything. I get it. But then you're looking for Bouchard.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's not perfect. Some people think he's close to perfect. I don't. He's not perfect.
No.
But when the puck is on his stick, the guy's 95% of the time a wizard with it. It just so happens that the other 5% of the time is just like so god awful that you're like, oh my, like, what are you going to do with this guy? But that's, I mean, you kind of have to live with that. It's just, that's going to be the market.
Yep.
It's going to be the market. That's what it is. $10 million is the market. It's set for Evan Bouchard. If it comes in at 10, I think in 3 or 4 years, you're just going to have to be like, yeah, okay, he's fine.
That is going to be, you just have to resign yourself to that idea. And there are those that are unwilling to understand and accept that concept, but it's where we are in the National Hockey League. It's where his peers are at in terms of what they get now. And Jacob Chychrun, who I would say is in the class below Evan Bouchard of defensemen, is making $9 million. So it kind of, like you said, pushes the bar up.
Well, I mean, people complain about him now, but if he's making 10.25 and he tosses something up the middle and ends up in the back of the net,
and that will happen.
Your post-game shows are going to be legendary.
Bring it on.
Legendary stuff.
I love it.
Hampton C says the Oilers will start with the Chychrun number at $9 million. Bouchard will start with the Deline number at 11.
Yep.
Logic says the land somewhere in the middle. I bet you'll be 10.25, something like that.
Sure.
All right. Tommy, what time you get rolling tonight?
We get going at 7 p.m. Belzy is in for Cass. Cass will be live on location here tomorrow, by the way.
Oh, is he?
Yes.
Okay.
He's been meaning to get out here for a long time.
By and say hi.
It's going to be a fun time already. I mean, Big Uke's here. Were you talking to some other nasties back there?
Dash is kicking around over there.
Yeah. So we get going at 7 today. We've got a lot of 8 o'clock starts coming up. And I think you want to get resigned to the fact that there's going to be a lot of 8 o'clocks going into the playoffs. Now's the time to get used to it. and then we'll get somebody out of Dallas. I saw Josh Bogart on my way out of the rink. He's a great guy, play-by-play voice of the Dallas Stars. Maybe I'll give him a shout. But we'll have a fun show. We'll get you set for a late one, and we'll see if this Oilers team can put together another gutsy performance and effort. Maybe they get the result, Dusty. We'll see. But I think there's some optimism around this team, and rightly so, despite not being without a couple of their best players.
You say that now, and post game tonight.
Oh yeah, bring on the madness. I love it.
Stuart Skinner is going to be getting ripped in your post game, regardless of what happens. If he's not a third star, like top 3 tonight.
Yep.
Shawzy said, "Hey boys, can I get a happy birthday shout out to my brother Jamie, aka the Jamester, 35 years old today. Thanks so much. Happy birthday, Jamie. Enjoy your 35th year. I guess technically 36th year now.
Yeah,
on the planet. That's how the birthday thing works.
35 was a good year for me. I enjoyed it.
Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
I do. I became a father for a second time when I was 35.
Oh, Papa Dustin.
The Muzz. All right, that's going to do it for the oil stream. I don't know if Zacticum, you kicking around back there? Nope.
I think that's enough.
I wanted to find out what was coming up on EST afternoons.
Oh, no, I'm right here, boys. I'm right here.
Okay, what do you got? What's coming up?
Well, we'll be running the Chris Knobloch pregame presser. We also got Hernan's World on the list today, and of course a bunch of breakdown on the matchup tonight with Hernan Salas and Joaquin Gage.
Oilers and Stars coming up. We'll continue to get you ready for it right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Stick around. Gager and Hernan, EST afternoons. We're going to go get pasta and maybe a half brute here at Boston Pizza. I'll talk to you tomorrow morning on the Nielson Show. Take it easy.